how did you choose a college?
So I applied directly to Queen's. I chose Queen's for several reasons. The first reason was quite a strange reason. I chose Queen's because at the time I applied, it was the only college that was accredited to pay all their staff national living wage. And so I thought, well, if the college pays their staff living wage, they might be a nice college. I didn't actually come to the Cambridge Open Day, so I didn't really see many of the colleges in person. I'd seen a few on random visits and school trips. And I'd seen Queen's on a school trip, and I thought it was very nice. I think the most important thing for me was just looking online on the different college websites, seeing the different facilities they had, the different kind of opportunities and they had, and applying to the one that I actually thought, you know what, I would like to live there for 3 years. Because it's no easier to get into one college than any other college. So I just thought, you know, where can I see myself living for 3 years? Where would I be happy? Looking at the different kind of accommodation that they offer, which kind of accommodation do I like? Looking at a college that was close to the law faculty and close to where my lectures will be, which Queen's is. And also I heard they do really good food, so that was always a plus.
So what did you put on your personal statement?
So on my personal statement, I kind of structured it so I had a bit about all the reading I'd done, a bit about the kind of extracurricular activities I'd done in relation to law, the supercurricular activities, if you will, different kind of talks that I'd attended, talks that I'd read, watched online, and things like that. But one thing that someone said to me when I was writing my personal statement is that they really want to see that kind of analytical mindset, especially for law, come out in your personal statement. And so one big tip that I was given when I was writing my personal statement is to kind of formulate some form of argument in your personal statement, be that based on your reading or otherwise. So I remember I chose a book that I had read, and I took an argument from the book, and the book basically it spoke about this case and the two different opinions on the case. The book was called What About Law, and I absolutely recommend that book to anyone thinking about applying for law. But it kind of took two different opinions, and so what I did, I briefly just outlined the title of the book, the two different opinions, and I briefly said which opinion I agreed with and why. And that was kind of the tip that I was given. Other than that, it was all your typical stuff, extracurricular activities, why I love law, what about law really interests me, what particular modules, etc.
So how did you choose to do law, and why?
Well, I've always kind of known, well, not always kind of known that I wanted to do law, but since I was maybe in year 10 or 11, I've known that I really wanted to be some form of lawyer, be it a solicitor or barrister. At first, I thought this meant I absolutely have to do law. As I got into year 12, I found out that actually to be a lawyer, you don't need to study law. In fact, I think it's something about half of lawyers haven't actually studied law, but they've studied a different course. So they could study history, English, a science if you wanted to. And so I definitely didn't pick law because I wanted to be a lawyer, although initially that's where the kind of interest began. And so once I'd known that I wanted to be a lawyer, I realised, well, law could very well then be a possibility to study. And so I'd read some books, and it was about just reading books and finding that actually this is really interesting. I actually find this genuinely interesting to read, and I can see myself reading about this for 3 years. And so I picked a course that I thought actually I'd enjoy. There were different modules that I could interact with, different kind of points and arguments in it that I could interact with and absolutely form my own opinion on, and actually talk about to other people with some passion.
So finally, why did you choose to apply to Cambridge?
Well, I'd actually been very lazy with open days, so I hadn't attended many open days. I kind of applied to Cambridge because I'd consistently gotten decent grades in sixth form in school. I mean, I wasn't sure that I would get meet the entry requirements, but I knew it was definitely a possibility that I might. And so I thought, well, Cambridge is one of the best universities, if not the best university in the country. So why not just apply? And I wasn't very committed to the fact that I would come even if I had received an offer. But I thought, you know, there's no harm in applying. Cambridge is such a good university. I may as well just apply. I mean, it wasn't until after I had my offer where I thought, wow, this is amazing. This is actually, I looked more into Cambridge, I looked more into Queen's. I thought, wow, this would be such an amazing opportunity. I looked at the different opportunities that they actually had here, and I was like, this is the place I want to study.